say it's a matter of time. 1,000 days and the sun won't shine.
Alrighty. Alrighty, take it easy.
My love is a river long, the best ride in a million wrong. I know I'm coming back to you. I'm happy, nothing's going to stop.
Alright, we are here at the racetrack for the Pro Late Models here tonight, trying to figure out where my one logo is, why it's not there. Unsure why. If that's going to work or not, I don't know. We'll see what it does. Well, we're getting ready for the qualifying here tonight. I would see we got about 11 drivers out there. See who comes out here first. Trying to see the part. There's Michael Batali coming out in that 213 out of Brooklyn, New York. We'll see what his pace is. Qualify. Let's go ahead and bring up the points as it stands right now. Your points for your Pro Late Models has Jeff Sharp in the lead with 470. William Watson in second with 433. Jeff Sharp is out there. I do not see Watson. Jeff Barker, he's sitting third in the points with 370. Do not see him out there either. Trevor Guru, he is out there. Currently has a 21.458, but he's fourth in points with 361. Fifth in points is Grandy, and Grandy right now is second on your standing so far with a 21.280, but fifth in points with 312. Zach Chapman out there Looking good with that Regal Wrapz and Designs 72. He lays down a 21.667. Dean Reynolds somewhere out here as well. Also, hopefully also running that Regal Wrapz paint job. We'll see here as they come here and get ready for the heat race. Should be one heat. Nope, two heats. They're going to be 6 and 5. All right, here we go. Starting on pole for your heat number 1. It's going to be Dean Reynolds. This is what's up. I see. So we're doing this again. Okay. Let's try to restart it. We got 5 drivers out there out of the 6. Yeah, we try to get this booted up again for some reason. SDK being a problem since I let the subscription lapse. So we're trying to get it back underway here. There we go. Yeah, here we go. Now, here, now. Wait. Yep, there we go. All right, Dean Reynolds starts out there on a pole with Mike Brewer there in second. See if we can get down there on the track side. There you got him. As they come there off turn number 4. Trevor Guru there in second row, bottom side in third. Sam Bachman starts 4th tonight in that 007. Tyree Walters there in 5th. Steven Bixler there in 6th tonight. Yeah, we said we got the Dean Reynolds number 79 machine painted up from Regal Wrapz and Designs. Yeah, they bring it out there on pole here tonight. Coming around here, coming to the green flag. Coming here off turn number 4. Here we go. As they come down the start. And the green flag is out there, down and away. In the corner number 1. Dean Reynolds down there on that inside lane. Going to get a good start. Going to try to slide it. Does not have enough room. With Mike Brewer up there on the high side. Getting that run down that back straightaway. Those FTM cars 1 and 2. As they slide through turns 3 and 4, you got another FTM driver, that 007 there, Sam Bachman. He's going to make a 1, 2, 3 there with the FTM, as we see down there on that bottom side at 75 of Trevor Guru trying to work his way up there through the field as he's now up there in the 3rd. Dean Reynolds, great run here tonight here at USA, rather. He slides there off turn number 4 out front, putting some distance between him and second place now. As Brewer there in now 4th as he gets shuffled back. Sam Bachman there in 3rd. Trevor Guru in 2nd. Now you watch him head down here off the back straightaway into turn 3 and 4. They are 3 wide, 2 wide here coming off the corner with Bachman there on the inside, Guru on the outside. Single filing it out to enter turn number 1 and 2. Here we go. Now we got 5 laps to go here in heat number 1. As they headed on out through the corners. Out front is that of Dean Reynolds. As you see him coming there off turn number 4. Trevor Guru there in 2nd with Sam Bachman there in 3rd. Mike Brewer 4th. Terry Walters there 5th. And Steve Bixler there in 6th. And they roll it down that back straightaway here at Lakeland. Down there on the bottom side of the speedway, you see Trevor Guru getting a run at Dean. Drag racing to the line. Dean most likely has the lead there. 3 laps to go as Dean still tries to power through on the outside lane of the racetrack, down through the back straight. Down here in the 3 and 4 they go. as they head there off of turn 4, back onto the front stretch. Dean Reynolds back out there in front, down here in the corner, 1 and 2, 2 left to go. Guru and Bachman trying to fight there for that position. Reynolds really wants to see them go side by side to slow them up as they come down here in the corner number 3 and 4 here in heat number 1. As they head on out here once again around off of turn number 4. Reynolds hanging tough there on the bottom as he slides now up there to the outside wall. Coming down there through 1 and 2, stays high, Guru goes low. Can't quite get there as Guru battles down the backstretch. Final lap here in heat number 1 as they're front to back. Dean Reynolds out there in front, hanging on there right in front of Guru. Closes off Guru there on the bottom. Dean Reynolds will get the win here in heat number 1 of your Pro Late Models here from Regal Wrapz and Designs tonight. All right, heat 2 underway here. As you see, we got 3, 4. As Zach Chapman is out there on the pole. Well, this feels kind of special here tonight for Regal Wrapz and Designs. As on pole for both heat races is a Regal Wrapz and Designs wrap. As you see, Zach Chapman out there in front, sporting his Shaggy TV wrap. Michael Vitale out there in second, outside row number 1. Row number 2 on the inside is going to be Jeff Sharp. To his outside, Joseph Grandy, with Pat Boyce there in 5th. And we head down there off of the corner, side by side. Chapman there in front. All right, here we go. Starting out there on the pole. And we get it set to roll here for the Regal Wrapz and Designs Dirt Pro Late Models. Zach Chapman out there as your leader to start this race. Looking good out there in front for Zach Chapman. Driving that Shaggy TV sponsored machine. And he's got the Regal Wrapz and Designs monster chasing the Scooby-Doo gang on the side of that machine. Now goes he heads down here in the corner number 1. Michael Vitale off to a great start out there on that outside lane. Grandy also gets out to a great start. Chapman falling backwards here. They roll down that back straightaway in the corner 3 and 4. As Chapman's down there on that inside. Going to try to wheel it back in here. Had a great race last week getting the win. Now this week looking to try to put it on a podium as well. As they roll down there through turn 1 and 2. Vitale out there in front. Grandy there second. As Vitale has a black flag for some reason up there on that outside lane. 7 laps to go. Not sure what that black flag was for. As he heads down there off the corner. Possibly passing the leader before the start-finish line for Vitale as they head out there through turn 3 and 4. Joseph Grandy there second, Chapman there third, Jeff Sharp there fourth, Pat Boyce not taking the grid. Now they head on out there off of turn number 2, down that back straightaway, Chapman out there in third, Grandy there in second. Off the corner they go down that front straightaway here in the 1 and 2. 4 laps to go here in heat number 2. Hey, working on out there. You see Vitelli out there in front. Grandy there second. Chapman there in third. Hey, Jeff Sharp in fourth. Pat Boyce not taking the grid as we said. 3 laps to go for Vitelli as he's out there in front. Again, I'm sure what that black flag was for. I'm leaning towards having issues with the passing the leader before the start. All right, watch the ball come down there through the back straightaway. Single file right now. Zach Chapman there in third. Here for heat race number 2, which will pull him starting 6th in the main event. And work out here through off the front stretch there. Michael Vitelli out there in front. Grandy there in second. And you want him down there through the corner. Off of 4, Grandy second, Chapman there fourth. Jeff Sharp though, he's looking to look underneath of Chapman, but can't quite get there as Michael Vitelli gets the win here in heat number 2. So here we go over your results real fast. Heat number 1, going to be Dean Reynolds, Trevor Guru, Sam Bachman, Mike Brewer, Terry Walters, followed by Steven Bixler. Heat number 2, that's going to be the likes of Joseph Grandy getting the win, Zach Chapman there second, Jeff Sharp there third, Michael Vitelli fourth, and Pat Boyce not taking a grade. All right, we will be back after this short message from our sponsor.
Thank you to our sponsors and partners for the 2025-2026 winter season.
All right, back here at the Speedway, looking here through the drivers. You see the 518 there, Grandy. Guru out there in the 075. Dean Reynolds out there in the 79. Michael Vitelli out here in the 213 with Terry Walters out there in the 207. Checker flag waves here in warm-up. Hey, watch him come here around. Here we go, getting ready for the show. Your starting grid here tonight for your Regal Wrapz and Designs Dirt Pro Late Models is as follows. If it'll come up. And of course, being a pain again. All right, here we go. There's your starting grid. Dean Reynolds there in the front. Not sure why it didn't come up there. There we go. Dean Reynolds out there in front, driving at number 79 for a Super Dirt Car Series. Joseph Grandy on his outside. Starting there in second, Trevor Guru in third. Inside row number 2. Outside of row number 2 is going to be that of Zach Chapman driving that number 72. In row number 3 on that inside lane is going to be Sam Bachman in the 007 with Jeff Sharp there in the outside lane driving that 280. Row number 4 on the inside, the 7 spot going to Mike Brewer driving that number 390. Michael Vitale there in 8. Going to be starting in at number 213. Row number 5, starting the likes of Terry Walters in 9th. That's on the inside in that 207. Pat Boyce, Stephen Bixler not taking the grid. "30 laps the distance here around USA, otherwise known as Lakeland USA International Speedway here tonight. Hey, watch them come there off of turn number 4. Pace car is going to drop down there on the pit lane. Going to hand the field over there to Dean Reynolds as he comes down the front straightaway. Here we go. Down there in the corner number 1 as he dives in there to the bottom. Right there in front of Guru. Chapman gets a great run on the outside as they are side by side down that back straightaway. Here in the turn 3 and 4, side by side as they head on out there through off of the corner. As they bring it on down there out through in the corner 1 and 2. Randy up there on the high side. Here comes Guru underneath of Reynolds. Can't quite get there though. Zach Chapman now working on the outside of Guru as they work down there into turn number 3 and 4. Side by side, Chapman up there on the high side. Guru really laying it down out there in front. Dean Reynolds there second. Chapman there in fourth right now, trying to battle for a podium spot as he's now back here in a fifth as Bachman gets around him to that 4th spot. Vitale now works on him back here as you see Dean Reynolds there in that number 79, working there through turn 3 and 4. Trevor Guru there in 3rd. Bachman there 4th. Chapman there in 5th. Chapman working to try to get underneath of Bachman. Can't quite get there as he stays in line there. This track, I will say, in the big blocks was a little rough out there. I don't know if it's just as rough for these guys out there or not. That top side coming down through the front straightaway was very rough. As you see him come down there out of turn number 4. Dean Reynolds there second. Trevor Guru in 3rd. As Reynolds tries to hold him off, working there off of 2. Guru dives it down to the bottom. Gonna try to pull up side by side as he dives it in here. That corner number 3, he'll try the slider. Gonna throw it in there. Dean, what are you gonna do? Dean's gonna cut down here, coming off of 4. And throw it in here in the corner number 1. Brewer's back here in 6. As you see him there in the 390, working underneath of Zach Chapman. Working down that back straightaway. Shaggy hooking to the top side. As Brewer's down there trying to find that momentum on that lower side. as they work there off of the front stretch. There you see Grandy out there in front. Rue only pulling there in second, with Reynolds there third, Bachman there in fourth as they come there out of turn 2. Dean Reynolds slipping back now here as they work through 24 laps to go down here out of turn number 3. On that front stretch, Bachman there couldn't quite get anything to happen. Now they're front to back there. You see Bachman behind Reynolds. As Reynolds rolls there off turn number 4 down that back straightaway in the 3 and 4. And we got Grandy out there in the front. Guru there second. There you see Dean coming off the corner. The 007 there up Bachman. Chapman there in 5th. With Brewer there in 6th. Grandy still leads the way. 22 laps to go. Down there off the corner, you watch at 79, Dean Reynolds, Sam Bachman there 4th, Chapman there in 5th, Brewer there in 6th. Working down there, down across that grassy knoll for Brewer as he worked there trying to keep the momentum up. Vitale to his outside. As Brewer is losing a spot there to Vitale as they work down there in the corner, 3 and 4. Brewer falling back there in that FTM machine. And we see Trevor Guru out there in second, Dean Reynolds there in 3rd. And they work up off the corner, down that back straightaway. As he works off through in the 3 and 4. Reynolds there in 3rd. Bachman still trying to get underneath him there as you watch him come there off turn 4. Here with 19 laps to go. Great entrance there to turn 1 and 2 for Bachman as he gets a nose under him, but doesn't have the drive off as Reynolds still holds that lane out there on that high side a little bit. Now you watch Bachman down there on that inside lane again, trying to get that momentum off, but has to slide back in line behind Reynolds again. Peru chasing down Grandy as they come there out of the corner. Bachman and Reynolds still battling for that 3rd position. 18 laps to go here at Lakeland, USA. Chapman back here settling in the 5th as they roll down here in the corner 1 and 2. Grandy down that back straightaway. Guru back here in 2nd. Dean Reynolds there in 3rd. Now he works there on that top side, working there. Here comes Bachman finally getting a run there. Dean Reynolds trying to hang on to it still. He dives it back here in the corner number 1. He's going to slide it up there in front of Bachman. Bachman's going to slide it back underneath. Come down that back straightaway, trying to get that slider into 3 and 4. We'll see if he can drag race it on in there. He will. There goes Bachman. Here comes Reynolds once again. Going to swing it to the inside. Down that front straightaway as they exchange sliders back and forth here. This past lap down here in the 1 and 2 again. Reynolds dives it down below Bachman as he slides on up there. Bachman now back to the inside. Down that back straightaway. Bachman going to dive it in here to corner 3 and 4. With now Reynolds trying to slide it on down there underneath him. Can't quite get there. Great job there by Bachman to hold that lower line completely through turn 3 and 4. Taking that ability of Reynolds of a crossover away. And now Reynolds has to try to chase him down here. As it looked like Bachman might have picked up a little bit of speed there, running that bottom completely through turn 3 and 4. Going to run that slider there. Here comes Reynolds. He's going to run that lower line completely through 3 and 4 now. Here with 13 laps to go. Guru and Grandy out there in front. Grandy, your leader. Guru there in second. As Guru tries to chase down your leader down there in the front. Here in the 3 and 4. As Guru is catching Grandy out there in that front. Up there on that high side. They work there through 1 and 2. Bachman there in 3rd. Reynolds back here in 4th. Chapman back here in 5th is getting company there from Vitale. As Vitale dives it on in there, going to slide it up in there. Chapman going to cut underneath, coming here off turn number 4 as they battle it on down through the front stretch. Here in the corner number 1 again. As you see, they're side by side. Vitale working underneath them again. can't quite get there. Gonna pull back in line. Coming down that back straightaway. 11 laps to go for Grandy out there in front. Has a bounce back bumper full of Guru as they drive down this front straightaway across that stripe and in here into corner number 1. Just trying to keep that momentum and that speed up as you watch Bachman coming there off the corner. Reynolds there in 4th. Chapman back here in 5th. Still hanging on to it. They're just ahead of Michael Vitale as they work there off the corner. 10 laps to go. Here, now 9 as they come across the line. They're in the corner number 1. Guru still hanging there on the 2nd. He works down there through the backstretch here in the 3 and 4. Guru takes a shot. He will slide it on in there. Grandy now going to have to go and do a crossover here. Coming out of corner number 4. Will do so. He will hold on to the lead. As Guru stays right there with them on the top side. He's looking down there underneath. Once again, getting that nose in there, trying to set up that slider. Once again here through turn 3 and 4, and he will. As Grandy now slides it on up there. And Grandy's going to cut back underneath, coming down the front straightaway. Drag race here in the corner number 1. Grandy going to slide it there through 1 and 2. Guru going to crossover, coming down the back straightaway. Haven't got a great battle going on here for the lead. Dean Reynolds and Bachman have separated a little bit. Vitale did get around Chapman here, coming into 3 and 4. Chapman going to have to try to cross over here, coming out of 4. We still got that battle going on there for the lead. Grandy right now up front, but Guru, great runs here, trying to get around him. Ended up losing a little bit of momentum here as he kept throwing sliders. Now he has to reel them back in here through turn 3 and 4. Up there against that outside lane, and they work now down through the front stretch. Guru back up there to the bumper of Grandy. As they work there through turn 1 and 2, back off there on the front, or onto the back stretch rather. With Grandy out there leading the way. In the corner, 3 and 4, Guru down there on the bottom, trying to make it stick. Does he have the momentum? Not yet. Gonna be right there though, coming here in the corner, 1 and 2. Gonna stay up there on the high side, right there on the bumper of Grandy. We're gonna go and pull it on down there a little bit. Did not set up for the slider, but it's gonna be there. And oh no! Grandy, I don't know what he did. He gooped up there coming into corner 3 and 4. Oh, maybe not, as they gave that spot. He's going to work back underneath him here, coming into corner number 1 and 2. 3 laps to go. And Grandy's down there on the bottom side. Guru now going to cut underneath. Here coming down the backstretch. And they're side by side back here in the corner number 3 and 4. Grandy up there on the high side. Going to have to cut it back down here underneath the Guru. Drag race to the line. 2 laps to go as they battle for the lead. Down here in the 1 and 2. Guru now back here in 2nd. Gonna fall back here. Gonna try to bring it on down here once again. Underneath of Grandy here in the corner number 1, or corner number 3 rather. Grandy Guru slides it in there. Grandy now brings it down. Now it's gonna be Grandy to the line. 1 more lap to go as they battle it hard here. Coming there through turn 1 and 2. Guru knows he's got 1 shot here. 1 final time here to try to make something happen. As he'll sling it here in the corner 3 and 4. Down there on the bottom side, Grandy up there on the top side. Grandy's going to cross over. Drag race to the line. It's going to be Grandy for the win here at Lakeland, USA. Guru gets 2nd, Bachman 3rd, Reynolds and Chapman 4th and 5th. Here in the Regal Wrapz and Design Start Pro Late Models. Your results here tonight. Gonna be Joseph Grandy getting the win. Trevor Guru there 2nd, Bachman there 3rd, Dean Reynolds there in 4th. Zach Chapman 5th, Jeff Sharp 6th, Michael Vitale there 7th, 8th going to Mike Brewer, Terry Walters there 9th, Pat Boyd there in 10th, and Stephen Bixler there in 11th. Getting here with your leaders, or your winners now. We'll get with Trevor Guru here. Good evening there, Trevor. How's it going?
Good, you?
And it's going well. A little warm here in the booth, surprisingly.
Yeah, warm in my office as well.
Man, what a race out there. Sliding back and forth there the last, 10 or more laps.
Yeah, man, that was some really good racing. Just had to do what I had to do and just see if I could, make something work with the slider line. Just with the long straightaways and the big corners here, you throw a slider and the car just bogs right down. It's just too easy for the other guy to just cross you up and take the lead back. But had to try.
That you do. I mean, it looked. We've seen a couple of them get a great run there on the bottom. If they held the bottom to 3 and 4, if they can keep that momentum going, it seemed like you could pass on the bottom. But it wasn't easy to be done, that's for sure.
Yeah, it kind of seemed like coming out of 4, like the bottom 3 would work, but coming out of 4, it was just, you'd kind of stall out a little bit. I ran the bottom 3 and 4 and kind of tucked it in the middle there, and it stuck with Grandy, but I just didn't feel comfortable doing that every lap. I was too worried he was going to pull away. I wanted to make sure to keep him close so I could just keep throwing sliders if I needed to.
Well, you did a great job keeping them within shot and slider shot for sure. As you both put on a show there coming to the finish line, and you got sponsor shouts. Anybody you want to thank for getting second tonight?
Yeah, just give a shout out to all the guys at FTM. Good run for us tonight, all night. Give a shout out to you, Fleer, for sponsoring this stuff. I saw the wrap you made Dean, and I was just telling Dean that it was really nice. So I do like that wrap, but.
Well, Dean wasn't the only one sporting a Regal Wrapz design out there tonight.
Who else was?
Chapman.
Okay,
Shaggy
nice.
had a Regal Wrapz design.
Yeah, that was a nice car too. You do make some nice wraps, so might have to send you a message here and get one done. But yeah, just thank all the sponsors here: Expert Installation, Swan Speed Shop, Dean Reynolds, the Super Dirt Car Series, Big Tim Race Wraps, Artisan Trackside, everybody at Coast to Coast, and yeah, looking forward to next week.
Alrighty, well, congrats there on second place tonight there, Trevor.
Thank you.
That was second place. Now we'll get with third place, Sam Bachman. Good evening there, Sam. How's it going?
Going pretty good. You?
Oh, it's going. Got yourself a third here tonight. Had to battle Reynolds there a little bit for it, though.
Oh, yeah, me and Dean had a pretty good race for, 5-10 laps or whatever. I don't know how long it was, but once I got by him, I just felt like the car wasn't too quick anymore. And Trevor and Joseph were kind of just taking off.
It just seemed like like we heard Dean talk earlier in the broadcast with Shaggy. Hitting your marks is so important here at USA because you miss them just by a little bit, and it just seems to bog the car down.
Yeah, if you miss your line just a little bit, I mean, it can cost you a half second, so it's pretty key trying to hit your line perfect and hit it as smooth and straight as possible, to be honest.
Oh, you did a great job getting out there and getting third place tonight. You got any sponsor shout-outs? Anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, the boys over at FTM, Gunner at Swan Speed Shop. It's really been working hard on the dig. Dean over at Super Dirt Car Series, Shaggy TV, Expert Installation, Vertex Graphics, obviously you Flieger, and who are doing the broadcast and sponsoring Pro Late Models and Coast to Coast.
Alrighty, our pleasure here. You have yourself a great night. We'll see you next week there, Sam.
Thank you, Flieger.
All right, now we'll get with our winner, Joseph, here tonight. Good evening there, Joseph. How's it going?
Hey, what's going on?
It's going well, man. What a run you had to have there to pull off a win.
Yeah, not too bad. I'm a fan of USA. I always seem to run pretty decent there. Not really used to running the top there a whole lot, but last race it was bottom, this race it was top, and it played out good.
Well, I mean, you did a great job, and you definitely had to keep and make sure you were hitting your marks. Otherwise, whenever Guru would throw a slider, you might have lost him.
Yeah, my headset fell off around like lap 11 or 12, and luckily it didn't affect me too bad because the track was pretty wide open, but made it interesting, that's for sure.
Well, you did a great job keeping them behind you there, crossing them over there, coming out of 4. Give us a great drag race to the finish line, pulling off the win. You got sponsor shouts. Anybody you want to thank for getting that victory tonight?
Yeah, Aiden over at Raise the Bar, Mad Rabbit, Equal Homes, Catalytic Recovery, Highline Cinematography, Shaggy TV, Reckless Wrapz, my girlfriend Olivia, all the guys at Coast to Coast, and even for doing a broadcast.
Alrighty, congrats there, Grandy, and hopefully you have yourself a great rest of your night and a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, man. You too.
All right, that's Joseph Grandy. Thank you all for tuning in. Can't wait to see what next week holds here at Coast to Coast Racing Network, along here with Flieger Farm TV. Be sure to get notified if you really enjoy the racing action that we bring you. So have yourself a great night. Thanks for watching.